back in the 118th Congress, almost a full year ago on January 31st, you co-sponsored the Disengaging Entirely from the United Nations Debacle Act, also known as the Defund Act, introduced by Congressman Chip Roy. That bill would repeal the United Nations Participation Act of 1945 and the 1947 United Nations Headquarters Agreement Act. So basically, it would get us out of the UN and the UN off of U.S. soil. So you co-sponsored that in the previous Congress. It has not yet been introduced in this Congress. However, should the bill be reintroduced, and hopefully it will be, what is your position where do you stand now on getting out of the UN? Should we still do that in even with the current administration?
We need to get out of the UN and we need to get out of the WHO, both of which have become insidious organizations that have done more damage around the world than they've actually helped. Now, obviously, after World War II, there was an interest in preventing World War III, and the leaders at that time thought creating an organization such as something like the UN would be the way to do that, where countries could come and sit down and they would all be civilized, and we could avoid what happened in Germany and then spread throughout the world. The fact is that, like so many organizations, over time they become corrupt to their very core, and that's really what has happened to the UN. Whether there's another organization that we could create with our allies to take the place of the UN, I don't know the answer to that. But when you look at some of the metrics by which we can judge the UN, what was going on in Gaza, what happened after October 7th, 2023, what the UN has done, their involvement in propping up Hamas, a terrorist organization, funding a terrorist organization. They've got blood on their hands, in my opinion. We do know that your so-called UN peacekeepers around the world have some of the highest incidents of rape and sexual abuse of the citizens of those countries. They go in. They obviously are horrible, horrible people, yet the UN has them on their payroll. Not only that, they're shipping them around the world so that they can engage in their nefarious acts. The UN has become a terribly insidious and corrupt organization. Anytime that you would put people such as from Iran or Venezuela or Russia on a human rights council, you know that you are completely morally bankrupt, and I do not believe that we ought to be funding them to the extent that we are. To the extent we are giving them money, we ought to control a lot more of what they do around the world. But yes, I will sign on to a bill to get us out of the UN and get them off our shores.
Thank you so much, Ted. It's a relief to hear that from a member of Congress.